Hello, folks. This is Richard Moore with Mississippi Anti-Gang Stalking Association on YouTube, United States Anti-Gang Stalking Association. I want to talk a little bit about, of course, gang stalking. It's what we call, it's targeted TIs, targeted individuals, gang stalking. For those less informed individuals, we'll say community policing or the old neighborhood watch program, cops program, and so forth. I've been targeted since 2005. To cover all the elements of targeting and what an individual has to endure once they're targeted would be, it would be easier for me to read War and Peace than to try to cover all that and just in these small segments. However, we try to address a few things each time that maybe a little different from the other videos, where a person that is suffering from being targeted, and that's the main purpose of our goal, is to offer a refuge of sorts for the targeted individual, a knowledge base and a support base. And not only that, we're doing some proactive things to bring this criminal enterprise and organization down. So that brings me to our TI witness evidence and data collection site. This is through BAND, B-A-N-D. And so on our Facebook page, North Mississippi Anti-Gang Stalking, you'll find the link on that page, and you can click that link, create your own band. If you're a targeted individual or an individual that has pertinent information to community policing and so forth, each individual that creates their own band within our band, that information remains private to only the moderators and the people that they're on that. We're going to use this information, and we're using it for a federal class action to be filed in Washington, D.C. From that, we do expect the criminal prosecutions to follow suit with that. Who is involved in gang stalking? Well, it involves government officials, obviously law enforcement from the highest level all the way down to your local police, as well with private contractors and companies. It's a potpourri of people and organizations and groups that are involved in this. On a local level, we do know that they organize in several places, churches, some local churches being one of them, and not the only place. And now we're speaking of Christian nonprofit 501c3 corporations that are nonprofits, and they enjoy little or no scrutiny. If it has something to do with a religious organization, the government's position is, and the IRS and so forth, is kind of standoffish, and so there's not much oversight, if you will, and so they have a huge latitude of things that can go on there, and if this happens unchecked with the wrong religious organizations, then you can have a situation that we've got now with community policing. And the idea on a local level, it's what these people on a local level believe that they're doing in comparison to the powers to be that control this stuff and endow these people and provide them with data and technology and all the necessary means to torture private citizens. Their plan and their program and mindset be totally different. It doesn't matter whether it's from the top all the way down to the frontline crash dummy. And the crash dummy is that frontline person that's involved with the targeted individual and that individual's daily stalking and terror and stupidity campaigns that they relentlessly involve themselves in. I made the comments before that these people on a local level believe they're doing, but some of them believe they're doing God's work. And I have to continuously, every chance I get, to bring this into check. First of all, they're not. And for those stalkers that do listen and pay attention to what I'm doing, you're not doing God's work, okay? Now, when you have a person of faith, a person that believes in God, that has accepted Jesus Christ as his personal Savior, and has a good, healthy prayer life and relationship, like myself, I know that God will never, ever sanction any type of adverse actions towards one of his own by one of his own. That's saying God speaks out of both sides of his mouth. Doesn't happen. So the reason that I'm here today and not 6 foot under, like we know that the ultimate goal of targeting, if you do not submit to whatever, and who knows, who cares what their objective is, stalking and harassment of any type, regardless of the intention, regardless of the person doing the stalking and the harassment, regardless of what they're thinking or what they're intending or what their purpose is, that has no play in it. It's criminal. It's against the law. It's against state and federal laws. That's the end of that discussion. What you're doing is a crime. God does not sanction his people to break man's law, to commit crimes, and target and torture and harass and hinder his people. Now, with that said, we know that we're on the right side of this fight. We're on the right side of this battle. So for those that are targeted, they're listening to this, you should know that this program is not designed for you to understand it. It is, they thrive on the element of confusion, on the elements of to keep you discombobulated, to keep you guessing, to keep you doing the who, what shuffle, and it's all, and the more deception. Remember this. If you don't remember anything I'm telling you, it's a shell game. Smoke and mirrors, and the more smoke and mirrors you see, the more there is to hide. I've been targeted, again, like I said, since 2005. Anything and everything imaginable that can be done to a human being, I believe that I have endured that. Now, I hadn't made it this far because I'm someone special. But I do belong to someone that is special. And so make no mistake about it. When I go to sleep at night, I don't sleep, nor do I live in fear. The main objective of this organized criminal gang stalking is to instill fear. Fear is not of God, it's the devil. Confusion is not of God, it's of the devil. Hopelessness is of the devil, not God. it, many times have I said this, and I keep repeating it. I see people say, I just want to die. And we've all been there. And let me tell you, that is the ultimate goal of criminal gang stalking. My friend, it's self-implosion. If and when and do people die? Absolutely. I'm telling you, absolutely. And keep in mind, folks, when I post something, I name names and I speak of certain situations. I'm prepared to go to the courts, to the highest court in the land, and substantiate every single thing I speak of. Okay? This is not a conspiracy. This is not guesswork. This is not just my opinion. These are the cold, hard facts. You can choose to accept the facts or you can choose to ignore them. Either way, I'm not going to shut up about it. I'm not going to stop fighting for myself and the freedoms and the civil and constitutional rights that countless, hundreds and thousands of men and women have given their lives for us to have these civil and constitutional rights, only for it to be abjectly denied by the people that we put in office, that took an oath of office, that swore to uphold and protect the Constitution of the United States of America. In the state of Mississippi alone, we look at Attorney General Lynn Fitch. I've sent complaints to Lynn Fitch's office. I've outlined some of the criminal actions towards myself, and her office didn't hesitate to let me know that they didn't want to get involved. This is the chief law enforcement of the state of Mississippi. I would venture to say that you're going to get this in most states. A lot of TIs have already gone down this road, and they say, I've called the FBI, been there, done that. I've done this, been there, done that. They dismiss you. Well, we know one of the elements of stalking is to psychologically minimize your credibility. And so when you call and and speak of the things that are being done to you, or you repeat it to family members, and they're looking at you crazy, it's one of two things. Okay, it does sound crazy if when you're passionately trying to explain what you're going through, or they're involved in your stalking. I said a mouthful then, didn't I? Now, don't get me wrong here. When I said one of the elements of stalking is confusion, is it possible that you could assume or think that maybe a loved one is involved, or maybe you're confused? Let me tell you, folks, it's not hard to tell the difference when you're lined up with the man upstairs, okay? Once you've lined up with him, he'll give you clarity beyond all explanation, okay? So that's where your clarity comes from. Your mission shouldn't be to explain or try to validate yourself, or to having to explain yourself the rest of your life. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to let you know you're not crazy. The things that you photograph and document, that is evidence. It does prove something. And that's why we want you to go to our banned data witness evidence, our TI witness evidence collection site. And within that, you create your own band and you upload your videos, photographs, and documentation. What happened that day? What did they do? Was it packs of cars, packs of people, stupid things, clown things, all these things that people have told you, well, that doesn't prove anything. Yeah, it proves a lot. That's a lie, not only from the devil, but that's a lie from community policing. There's a lot of people, and people in the private sector as well, attorneys, medical professionals, so forth and so on. They all play their part in this holistic community policing program to make the community a better and safer place for everyone. That sounds good. But do we do this arbitrarily? And do we arbitrarily violate and systematically violate civil and constitutional rights of innocent citizens. You can't justify that. Absolutely not. We do have a system of checks and balances. We do have a process called due process. We do have civil and constitutional rights just like everyone else. Now, regardless if a community group or some fundamentalist right-wing radical church decides people are not dancing to their tune, then it's not your call to decide, and it's not my call to decide that a person's, whether it be their habits, their sexual orientation, their employment, their ethnicity, their race, or anything else, it's not your call to make. And so when you're doing these things under the guise of doing God's work, or the guise because a man in the badge has made you to believe that it's okay to do what you're doing. Well, if it's okay, explain to me this. Why is it such a secret? Tell me that. Why such denial? I mean, if you're dogmatic enough about your stance and where you stand, then why are you sneaking and hiding behind lies? You see, this program was built on a lie, and it will never stand. Whatever starts out wrong, my friend, will end up wrong. You can't start it out wrong and build a foundation on wrong and say, God, please fix it. I know this from experience. If God didn't start it and didn't build it, you think he's going to pass the roof? No, he might help you tear the whole thing down and start from the ground up on his plan. And I've had to live that life. Thank God I was able to live that, and I'm able to stand here and tell you today. There are people out there that justify bad behavior because of the way they're being treated and handled by this stalking. You can't justify that. One ill-gotten idea fed into another, it's all bad. So, we have local organizations that are involved in community policing, and that's my main point today. I want folks to realize and understand this. I've touched on this before, but you have, for instance, your state and federal penal system, where offenders are released to some type of supervision or what have you, federal and state. Are they entered in to as being targets of community policing? Absolutely. You mean the state and the federal government is aware of this? Absolutely. Remember, I told you what I'm saying can be substantiated. Now, what about the stalkers? What about the crash dummies? Let's talk about them a minute. Listen, when you hear people say, we want to get our kids and our youth away from drugs and all that stuff, let me tell you what, folks, that's hocus pocus baloney. If the crimes of all crimes stop tomorrow, look how many people be out of work. That's called unemployment, my friend. That's unemployment. That'd be just like Walmart telling you when you walk out the door, don't come back. We hate you. Eventually, people would get the message, right? So obviously, as long as a problem is there, and if a problem's not there, what does community policing do? It creates a problem. If you're not breaking the law, they'll prop things up and juxtapose you in a position to have you looking crazy, maybe breaking the law. Don't fall for that trap. They create problems where there's not a problem. That's the checks and balances that will hang community policing. Now we're talking about fraudulent timesheets. We're talking about fraudulent data entry. It's fraud all the way to the highest order, my friend. You see, all of this, the things that the justification of the spending and the effort and the manpower and all the things done for this person was based on a false set of narratives, a false set of facts that were not facts. They were placed in there. Now we can target, and we can justify targeting, and as long as they have people to target, then the beast gets fed continuously. That's the beast we're going to stop. So we're not chasing flying monkeys today. We're not doing any of that. as fun as it may be, we're chasing the people and the money behind making this happen. You see, without the money, all of a sudden people lose their spiritual calling to do something. Okay, God changed his mind because we're not getting any checks. These morons are not getting gas in their tanks. They're riding around looking at their phone and color coding people looking stupid. And I'm calling it for what it is. I document on a daily basis. Whether I'm in my home or I'm in my vehicle or I'm in public, you can best believe one thing, there's camera rolling. Mine, okay? I could care less about anyone else's. Now, and it is evidence. It's mind-boggling at the things that I've documented. It's mind-boggling. We've got over 500,000, I've lost count, of pieces of evidence to back up what I'm telling you right now. We feel very secure right now in our stance, in our position on our federal class action. Make no doubt about it. When this class action is filed, it's not going to be shot down, but we will get recognition on a global scale because, you know, the grand old USA, and I love this country. I think this is the greatest country in the world. I believe that we have the best justice system in the world. Is it infallible? Is it perfect? Well, absolutely not. But it's better than whatever's next. And I believe at the end of the day that Lady Justice will have her way. I believe that too many lives have been laid down. Too much blood has been spilt to keep and protect the sanctity of this country. For those, the elites, for those that feel like that they know better, that they understand more than we do, that they can impose their values or do whatever they want to do and have us written off as stark raving lunatics. And so oftentimes the TI is urged by law enforcement through the family or directly. You need to go check in somewhere or whatever, and they want you to get certified as being a fool to try to discredit your anything that you may say. The first thing, and always the first thing, of a targeted individual is a smear campaign. We got to ruin their name, their reputation, their job, their family, their life, their home, their income, on and on and on. They want to destroy you there, where every time they do something, you won't have anybody to fall back on. That's what they want. But here's something they didn't figure in the equation, folks, is even though you may destroy all of those things, guess what? When a person has God to fall back on, he's got everything to fall back on. You hear me? Everything. And I'm going to tell you, you say you're isolated, friend, let me tell you what. As long as you got God, you're never alone. As a matter of fact, it's best, especially when you're targeted, to be alone with God in as much time as possible. This is the time where he'll give you peace, comfort. You'll sleep at night. You will be restored. And I'll promise you, day by day, step by step, every single thing the devil has stole from you, God will give it back to you. But first thing you got to do is you got to give this thing to God. Now, and then you have to bring light in these dark places. You see, Jesus Christ is the only true light, the only thing that is truth. I tell people about love, so you don't know what love is until you've known the love of Jesus Christ. Then you know what love is. You see, these things I'm speaking of now, community policing and criminal gang stalking, cannot take it away. What I have, the world didn't give it, and the world cannot take it away. I'm telling you, I'll go when God says it's time for me to go. I don't worry about what I'm going to do tomorrow because God told me, don't worry about tomorrow. I got you. And folks, I'm a living testament to someone that God has said, I got you. And that's why I God forbid that I ignore hundreds and thousands, millions of targeted individuals around this world and not tell the truth. And folks, I'm going to tell you, it's a lot of mixed emotions, a lot of mixed feelings about when I speak of religious organizations, but I'm going to tell you, back to that frontline crash dummy. Law enforcement, we talk about a drug problem. Let me tell you, folks, we wouldn't have illegal drugs in our neighborhoods and in our state and our localities had it not been for law enforcement. They allow this. They know exactly what's going on. It's controlled. It's they hate the devil of going to courts, attorneys, due process. Listen, I'm telling you, you actually mean that people in law enforcement despise our system. You best believe it, friend, they despise it because they want to be the final say. This is not the Wild West. They want to turn in blue lights on, put the cuffs on, and say, okay, 50 years in prison, death, whatever, and that be the deal. Well, as of right now, we're not living in that totalitarian state of dictators calling the shots. This is called a democracy. But I'm going to tell you what, folks, this democracy is daily being eroded because people are being distracted by things that they shouldn't be distracted by. We've got races we've got the black and white race thing, and I'm going to tell you, folks, anytime you see questioning, okay, this is the people behind the scenes. It's the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain that's pulling those strings. The devil would love for us to be at each other and worrying about all this confusion and endless things that have no answer. All the while we're looking at that, what are they doing over here? And that's the problem. They're furthering their agenda. They're furthering their control and their grip on society. Again, I've been dealing with this since 2005. I've had three more, and I won't name the names that I could, and that of individuals that it would say, are you saying law enforcement and people, they don't really care about our youth and their drug use and addiction? No, no. They when they embed a confidential informant, and we're not on that, but a stalker, and they're brought into the program of targeting other people, and if they can introduce drugs into that scenario, they'll do it. And of course, they can use all the drugs they want. But when that crash dummy gets to a point where they're no longer can function as a tool to destroy other people, then they're given a graduation ceremony, if you will. Now, some that buck that, I believe, they usually sign on with a program in hopes that they can avoid jail time or whatever. And this is akin, not far away from the confidential informant program. This is a person that just perceives that if they cooperate, they will be able to avoid that. Of course, they're not getting anything in writing, no more than a confidential informant gets any guarantees in writing. It's all, we're just saying this, we can't guarantee it, and so it's all the unwritten things that are hanging these crash dummies. Then some of them get to go to, are forced into rehab situations. And that's what I want to talk about briefly, and then I'm going to get off here. We've got local, nonprofit, religious, Christian rehabilitation programs for men and women. One of them is, just name one, I mean, they're all across the nation. And I can speak on this one because I know for a fact what I'm talking about. Broken Lives Ministry, Nettleton, Mississippi. Now, they were in a little tin building out in Skyline, Mississippi. Next thing I know, they're in a multi-million-dollar building that was built for a Mississippi National Guard. It's a fortress, a bunker. Now, I personally know of people that they're forced into that. Once we're helping these young men and women. We're helping them to get off drugs and all that. Well, let's tell the rest of the story. These people are forced into this program. Okay, they're not given an ultimatum. Now, forget separation of powers and the state probation officers forcing a probationer into a religious organization. It seems like there's a conflict there, but anyway, they're doing it. It's a fact, and now whether this person is a believer or not, they're forced to go, and they've got to attend these services. And it's Bible studies, on and on and on. There's nothing wrong with Bible study, nothing wrong with church, nothing wrong with singing hymns, and nothing wrong with praising the Lord. But there's everything wrong with it when that is imposed on someone that is not a willing or open vessel to that. It's forced upon them. Then we get into a Jim Jones situation, okay? Now, once this person, they go in this 6-8 month program, they may be off drugs or what have you. You know, are there people that are in the wrong mindset, and can they be absolutely right? I don't know. I don't think Hitler was on dope. So could you say, well, he was a better person? That has nothing to do with it. Has absolutely nothing to do with it. Because now when that person comes out of that, I've seen this. Now all of a sudden they come out with this elitist type attitude. All of a sudden they're a little better than other people. It's crazy. I mean, as for me, I could give two rips about a person feeling like they're better than somebody or something else. But somehow this stalking is justified. That person, before going in there, when they get out, you can believe one thing. If they had a problem with stalking and the contradictions and how morally reprehensible it was, when they get out, it'll be better, because now, after graduating, especially at Broken Lives, graduating, they will further be able to justify ill treatment of those deemed to be undesirables. Okay? And folks, let me tell you what. That's not God. Sorry. There's nothing about that of God. This is what is run under the cloak of that. Now, these individuals expecting that person to come out and say, you know what? I've had I'm a totally new person. God has, but I'm going to tell you something. God is not going to take a person and solidify evil, justify evil, and confusion, and all those other things. I've yet to see one come out to say, you know what, I was involved in this community policing deal. They were telling me what to do. It was orchestrated and propped up and so forth and so on. Never hear that. Never hear that. First of all, the chances of them ever having a conversation with a targeted individual after graduating are slim to none. It's designed for that. Okay, these people, it's my way or the highway. Understand that if they don't go along and become conformist to this community policing, then I'm telling you, they